Welcome to Finance and Public Education, Week 9. We're cruising through this course and going to be wrapping it up shortly. And I just wanted to first talk about the discussions last week. It looks like everyone has done a really, really good job in getting in and discussing some of these different questions. Week 9, we're getting closer and closer to wrapping up our final budget project. Just a couple things to read. I've included a PowerPoint from MCEL. And this is to go over some different examples innovations in current law that give you some flexibility in budgeting. And this is something that is usually gone over in these conferences, and it's just a great way to learn of different ways that you can be flexible as a superintendent or as a principal in providing the best education that you can. One that's being talked about quite a bit right now among superintendents and also in the legislature is proficiency-based A and B. And this is specifically addressed in snow days. So if a student can show proficiency, school districts do not need to make up snow days. Also, if you have a student that had lived in South America for a year or two and they know Spanish, a student could come in and take some kind of test that the district creates, and the district could award them credit and also get A and B for that. So that's just one example. Also, transfers, and you've probably seen this a lot recently. This is transfers specifically for school safety. So basically, you can take money out of any area except retirement and use that money for safety enhancements. And when you read through this, safety enhancements can be very, very general, and they can include a lot of different things. In many districts, they're doing doors, they're doing concrete, obviously the basic security upgrades of cameras and those kind of things. So read through that, think about it, talk to your administrators that you know of and see what kind of ideas that they have. Another great one, I think it started in 2013, multi-district agreements. And this really helps districts like many of you are in that have a K-8 district and then a 9-12 district. You can actually create a multi-district between the two and transfer funds to help one district cover the other. Or you can also transfer money from your leftover transportation funds or bus depreciation funds to purchase technology and those kind of things. Also, flexible licensing. Many of you are aware of that. One that probably doesn't get used a lot. I've used it and it's worked out very, very well. One of our strongest teachers actually doesn't even have a bachelor's degree. He has a class 4 CTE endorsement. He's our shop teacher and an exceptional teacher. And so for a person to get a class 4 CTE licensure, they need 10,000 hours of work experience, and they can teach those kind of classes. Also, enrollment under exceptional circumstances. This is something that some districts have looked at in starting a preschool and getting A and B for this, except they cannot call it a preschool. They call it a kindergarten 1 or kindergarten 2. And if the legislature doesn't pass something for preschool, you might see some more of those being popped up around the state. So just another idea. Again, this is coming right from MCEL, and this was a presentation by the school administrators of Montana, the Montana Rural Educational Association, and a couple different organizations. So it's really, really neat that they get together and really help people come up with some different ways to fund different things. Cooperative purchasing, something that's used. You can join different co-ops around this state. And as you purchase things in bulk, it helps out, especially for those smaller school districts. A non-voted levy for excess special ed costs. So you can permissively levy up to a certain amount that the state tells you to cover any additional special ed services. So if a student has a one-on-one aid and you can't cover that with your regular special ed general fund, then you can levy extra funds through the tuition. And that has helped out tremendously also throughout the state. And I think right now the legislature is trying to expand that flexibility. One that works very well in high schools is adult education. Adult education is a permissive levy also, and uh, I know of several districts that use this for any any pupil who's 16 years of older. So a student gets expelled and they're 16 or drop out, you can put them into your adult ed program. You can put them into your alternative school program. Again, this is a permissive levy, so you can levy as much as you need to cover that. So again, here are the different examples: credit recovery, post-secondary success and readiness. Some districts even use it for concurrent enrollment, running start classes, those kind of things. So that's just one example of that. Let's get back here. And one thing that will be due is supplementing the budget exploration. So you'll be looking at different, actually, let me just open it right to the assignment. So you'll be looking at 3 different things in this list, or anything else that you can think of too, and talking about these different different ways that you can supplement the budget. You'll want to look at some specific examples, some actual grants that you could find that you could utilize in your district, news articles that talk about some of these different things. And you can also describe how your district has used some of these things. Many of you are aware of these things. One thing, performance contracting is growing also throughout the state. I know a couple different districts that have used it. We use it in our school district. We implemented a biomass boiler, and it's a performance contract is where an engineering firm comes in, guarantees that you're going to have so much savings every single year, and that savings is guaranteed by the engineering firm. If you do not get that savings, they actually have to pay your loan. So the savings of our pellet boiler was guaranteed to be between $50,000 and $70,000. That was going to go towards the principal of a $1.2 million loan, and then they monitor it to make sure that it is saving the district that much money. Schools facilities levy, the state is going to be matching some of the funds that districts permissively levy on that. Let's see, I've already talked about those different things. So yeah, look at these, write up your paper as it's outlined in the syllabus, and let me know if you have any questions. You can also, if you want to, you can also attend the School Board Association Budget Symposium. I know they canceled several of them around the state. The video is going to be available, I think, on the 26th. So if you want to watch it by video, I know that's one way I'm going to. I usually like to watch it during legislative years because there's always a lot of different changes that go on. So in the discussion forum, the final budget project, in addition to supplementing the budget exploration, the next component is going to be talking about how your district or how you plan on implementing and monitoring the budgets effectively. So an example that I shared is something that I've seen in a couple different districts. Again, I think educators are one of the best people who rip off other ideas, and I think we're all very good at that, and we try to do that as often as we can. When we find a good idea, we want to implement it. So this is just the general fund, an example in an elementary general fund. This is one way that superintendents monitor how much they have to make sure that they're not going in the hole, because around February and March, that's when superintendents and principals start to get kind of nervous. But if they can see how much they've had in the past few years, so if they pulled up a 41%, they're not going to be so nervous. However, during this year, they might have been quite a bit nervous, because an 8% difference is quite a bit. And so there are a lot of different ways that you can track and compare how the budget is being spent from year to year. And this is when people turn in purchase orders or other things. This is when a lot of administrators kind of balk at signing them. So another thing I also included in the course shell is some grants that you could look up and see. A lot of different types of grants and a lot of different ways to be flexible in making sure that you can run all the different programs that you need to. And it's amazing how many grants there are out there as long as you keep your eyes open